There is a version of Nigeria many Nigerians rarely talk about. Not the busy commercial corridors of Onitsha, not the industrial energy of Aba, not the fast-growing upland cities spreading across the southeast, but another world entirely, a water civilization, a region of narrow roads suspended between rivers, lakefront settlements, canoe economies, flood-adapted homes, long embankments, fishing ports, wetlands, and communities that seem less like conventional Nigerian towns and more like European river settlements. Welcome to Riverine Igboland, and nowhere tells this story better than three extraordinary towns: Anam, Oguta, Omor. These communities reveal a side of Igbo civilization that most documentary completely ignore. A side shaped by water, a side built around adaptation, and in many ways, a side that visually resembles part of Europe more than the stereotypical image people have about southeastern Nigeria. When people compare these towns to Europe, they are not saying the architecture is identical to Paris, Amsterdam, or Venice. The comparison comes from relationship between settlement and water. That relationship changes everything. It changes how roads are built, how homes are positioned, how transportation works, how commerce flows, how people farm, how communities expand, and how the skyline looks. In many parts of Riverine Igboland, water channels sit beside settlements. Homes are elevated against flooding. Embankments define movement. Bridges connect communities. Fishing and waterfront economies dominate, and nature blends directly into urban life. That visual harmony between settlement and water is why many visitors describe these places as European looking, especially towns like Oguta, where lakeside development, waterfront roads, and rivers linked geography create an atmosphere unlike almost anywhere else in Nigeria. One of the greatest misconceptions about Igbo land is that it is purely inland. That historically is inaccurate. The southeastern region contains major rivers, floodplains, wetlands, lake systems, seasonal water channels, and communities that evolve specifically around aquatic geography. Riverine Igbo communities develop differently from upland Igbo settlements. Instead of defensive hilltop expansions, the towns evolve through waterways, fishing routes, flood adaptation, river trade, and agricultural systems tied to wetland. Historically, waterways connected many southeastern communities to the Niger Delta, Atlantic trade corridors, palm produce export routes, and regional commerce. This explains why some riverine Igbo towns became strategically important during colonial trade, palm oil exportation, and even the Nigerian Civil War. The geography created a unique urban culture, not fully delta, not fully inland, something in between. Anam is one of the most fascinating riverine societies in southeastern Nigeria. Located within the Omambala floodplain region near the River Niger basin, Anam communities developed with water as a permanent reality. Flooding here is not an occasional disaster, it is part of life. And because of that, the people built differently. Homes historically evolved with elevated foundations, flood-conscious spacing, adaptive pathways, and settlement clustering designed around seasonal water behavior. During rainy seasons, portions of the landscape can become almost amphibious. Canoes become essential, movement patterns change, entire communities and sections of the environment transform. This creates a visual atmosphere many outsiders find shocking because it feels unlike the dryland urbanism common across most Nigerian towns. Instead, it resembles river settlements found in the Netherlands, part of northern Italy, lowland Germany, or marsh communities around Eastern Europe. Not because the buildings are the same, but because the logic of settlement is similar. Humans adapting to water. Modern Nigerian urban planning often treats water as an obstacle. Riverine Igboland historically treated water as infrastructure. That distinction matters enormously. For centuries, rivers were highways, canoes were logistic systems, waterfronts were marketplaces, and fishing corridors were economic arteries. Before modern highways expanded across southeastern Nigeria, waterways connected communities efficiently. In towns like Oguta, river systems linked settlements to broader trade networks through the Njaba and Orashi river systems. Historical records show Oguta functioned as an inland port during colonial trade expansion. This is extremely important historically because it means these towns were never isolated villages. They were connected economic hubs. If any riverine town visually shocked first-time visitors, it is probably Oguta. Oguta sits around the famous Oguta Lake, the largest natural freshwater lake in southeastern Nigeria. The town is effectively built around water. That changes the entire visual identity. In the town, you see lakeside settlements, waterfront roads, long shorelines, boats beside homes, sloping banks, bridges, tourism infrastructure, and neighborhoods shaped by aquatic geography. Historically, the town became a major trade route because waterways connected it to the coast. Colonial firms used these river systems for palm produce evacuation. The result is a town with a maritime atmosphere, commercial water culture, and a spatial layout rarely associated with southeastern Nigeria. Some parts genuinely resemble lake towns in Central Europe, river communities in the Netherlands, or Mediterranean waterfront settlements, especially during the sunrise or sunset when canoes glide quietly across the lake. What outsiders often mistake for poor planning in riverine regions is sometimes sophisticated environmental adaptation. Riverine communities cannot build exactly like dry upland cities. Why? Because the terrain behaves differently. Floodplains require drainage intelligence, elevation strategies, flexible road systems, erosion management, and settlement spacing. Communities like Anam learned this centuries ago. In many ways, their settlement patterns resemble ancient European wetland civilizations that also evolved around flood survival. This is why comparisons to places like Venice, Amsterdam, or river towns in Germany keep appearing whenever people visit Riverine Igboland. Again, not because the architecture is identical, but because both environments forced humans to engineer life around water. Omor may not be internationally famous, but geographically, it is one of the most strategically important riverine agricultural towns in southeastern Nigeria. Omor sits on the shores of the Omambala River and possesses extremely fertile floodplain land. The town became known for rice farming, wetland agriculture, irrigation activity, and large-scale food production. In fact, federal irrigation rehabilitation projects have operated in the area to support rice cultivation. This creates another European similarity. River Valley agricultural civilization across Europe, many prosperous settlements historically emerged beside rivers because floodplains produce extremely fertile soils. The same pattern exists here. Riverine Igbo communities mastered wetland farming, seasonal adaptation, water-dependent agriculture, and food logistics. This is not accidental development, it is environmental intelligence. Most Nigerian urban centers evolved around highways, dry land expansion, and automobile-centered growth. Riverine Igboland evolved differently. The terrain forced a hybrid system: road and water, settlement and floodplain, agriculture and fishing, mobility and adaptation. That combination creates a softer landscape, more greenery, more open water, more shoreline visibility, and more environmental integration. And psychologically, humans often associate that with European river towns because many famous European cities are built around visible water systems. That visual connection matters. In Riverine Igboland, boats are not recreational objects. They are survival infrastructure. For decades, fishermen, traders, farmers, and the entire household use waterways daily. Even today, waterfront activity remains central around areas connected to Oguta Lake. The visuals of boats beside homes, cargo movements through water, and transportation integrated into nature create a striking resemblance to old European water settlements, especially compared to heavily congested inland Nigerian cities. Colonial powers understood the strategic importance of these waterways very early. Historical record shows that Oguta waterways became very important for palm produce export. British commercial firms operated through the lake systems, and inland ports emerged around navigable river corridors. Water meant trade, trade meant wealth, and the wealth influenced settlements' growth. This is one of the reasons many riverine towns developed unusually sophisticated local economies for their era. During the Nigerian Civil War, riverine areas became strategically important. Historical sources indicate that Oguta Lake served as a Biafran maritime base because of its geographic advantage. Waterways became military assets. This further demonstrates how critical This aquatic environment were to southeastern Nigeria historically. The geography was never merely aesthetics, it was strategic. This may be the biggest missed opportunity in southeastern Nigeria. Riverine Igboland has extraordinary tourism potential. Imagine waterfront resorts, ecotourism, floating restaurants, lakefront promenades, boat tours, fishing festivals, wetland conservation parks, and cultural waterfront districts. Places like Oguta already possesses natural scenery capable of attracting both domestic and international tourism. The problem is branding. Nigeria rarely markets southeastern riverine culture properly, yet visually these environments are stunning, and globally waterfront tourism is one of the most profitable tourism models on earth. One mistake people make is to assume all Igbo communities developed identically. They did not. Riverine Igbo communities produced a distinct environmental civilization. Different terrain creates different culture, different transportation, different architecture, different economy, and different settlement logic. That diversity is part of what makes Igbo land historically fascinating. From upland commercial cities to wetland farming civilizations to lakefront settlements, the region contains far more geographic diversity than many people realize. Riverine Igboland challenges stereotypes. It reveals a southeastern Nigeria shaped not only by commerce and entrepreneurship, but also by water engineering, environmental adaptation, and aquatic civilization. Anam, Oguta, and Omor. These are not ordinary towns. These are living evidence that African settlement patterns evolved in highly sophisticated ways around geography long before modern urban planning arrived. And perhaps the most interesting part is this. The more you study riverine Igboland, the more you realize that what many people call European looking is actually something universal. Human beings learning how to live beautifully beside water. As we come to the end of this journey, one thing becomes clear. Riverine Igboland is not an exception. It is not an anomaly. It is a forgotten masterpiece. From the flood-adapted communities of Anam to the breathtaking lakefront beauty of Oguta to the fertile wetland empire of Omor. What we are looking at is not imitation of Europe. It is something deeper. It is parallel evolution, different continents, different histories, but the same human intelligence, responding to one powerful force, water. These towns prove that African civilization have always understood environmental design long before modern urban planning became a global conversation. And maybe, just maybe, the real question is not why does Riverine Igboland look like Europe, but rather, why has the world not paid attention to Riverine Igboland? Because hidden in these waters are stories of resilience, innovation, beauty, and untapped global relevance. If this video changed how you see Igbo land, then you already know what to do. Hit the like button. It helps push the story to more people. Subscribe if you want more deep, powerful documentaries on Igbo land, African cities, and the hidden economic zones. Turn on notification because in the next video, we'll go even deeper. Thank you.